Hi guys, welcome to today's Motivation Monday video. So a lot of you have been asking me for like grieving updates or tips recently, so I figured for today's motivation video I would go ahead and talk about just like staying positive while you're grieving. But to be completely honest, you can apply these just to like life in general, even if you're not grieving. But obviously whenever you are grieving, you're just a lot more vulnerable and your emotions are just totally all over the place, and sometimes it's harder to kind of get like a grasp on them and get things under control. So I just made a list of some of the things that I've learned along the way and some of the things that I've noticed have helped or haven't helped, and I just wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys. So at this point I am about 5 months in, which is absolutely crazy to me. It's like I can't believe that much time has passed already, but it feels like it's been a lifetime, so it's kind of like a weird feeling. And I know 5 months, okay, the lighting is totally going to keep changing a lot throughout this video, which I'm really sorry about, but the sun keeps like going behind clouds, so I'm sorry about that. And 5 months honestly is not a lot of time if you look at the big picture. However, I feel like I've experienced a lot within these past 5 months, and I feel like I have learned a lot, obviously. So I figured even though it's only been 5 months, I would still go ahead and share what it is that I have learned and just the advice that I have for you guys. If you are grieving and you want to hear about what has helped me, or if you're just kind of in a rough spot and you kind of want to hear the advice that I have for you guys, then let's go ahead and get started. So one of the biggest things that I want to stress to you guys is that this is an ongoing process and it takes a lot of time. Like how I am now is so incredibly different than how I was, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and I would not be able to tell you the things that I know now. So if you're still in the beginning stages of grief, just remember that like you still have so far to go, and even now I still have so far to go, but you can't just, expect things to go back to normal immediately, and you can't try to make things go back to normal immediately. Like it is something that really does take a lot of time, and it's just really important that you let yourself experience and feel whatever emotions that are naturally occurring to you. So at the beginning, obviously that's going to be a lot of sadness, it's going to be shock, it's going to be anger and frustration, and it's really important that you do let yourself feel that way for as long as it feels necessary. And obviously you don't want to get carried away with it, but that's how your body is naturally feeling, and you can't suppress those emotions. You can't try to avoid them or ignore them, because that's just going to create bigger problems down the road. So whether you're a week in, a month in, a year in, I think it's just important that you let yourself experience whatever it is that you naturally are, going through, because you have every right to feel whatever way that it is, and whether that's sadness or anger or even happiness, just, take that emotion and do the best that you can with it. And know that there are going to be days that you just lay in bed and you cry and you're angry and you yell at the world. Like, that's okay. That's part of grieving. And another thing that's so important for you guys to realize is that there is absolutely no right or wrong way to do this. There's no handbook, there's no guideline or rule that you have to follow, because every single person in your life is so unique, and every relationship that you have with them is so unique, that any type of loss that you could experience is uncomparable to anybody else's loss or any other loss that you've experienced in your life. So just know that there's no right or wrong way to go about it, and whatever feels right to you is just what you need to go with, because what's right for one person is going to be totally unhealthy for another. Like for me, I found that it was very, very comforting to talk about it and be open. Like, I mean, obviously I have a YouTube channel, so that's something that I've always been comfortable with, but staying true to who I was, I continued to express my emotions and be comfortable talking about things and just letting it out. And I've talked about this before, but writing, so either you're letting it out verbally or written. But yeah, just remember that every single person grieves differently, and you can't get mad or judge someone for grieving in a way that's different from what you would do. And also just remember that if you've never experienced any type of loss, you can't even begin to imagine what you would do. And it's really annoying if you were to say like that you would do things differently, because until you're in that position, you don't know how you're going to handle it. Had you told me that I was going to lose Ryan, I probably would have expected myself to grieve entirely differently. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that you have to experience it to actually understand. And going along with that, every type of relationship that you could lose, which kind of involves what I was saying before, but Losing a lover, especially at such a young age, is something that is so different from any other type of loss. And I am part of a very small population of young adults that have lost a long-term lover, or whatever you want to call it, because it's not something that many people can understand. And even the other girls or boys that I have talked to that have lost long-term boyfriends and girlfriends, I still feel like none of them actually understand how I feel. But that just goes back to what I was saying about, you know, every person and every relationship in your life being so unique that every type of loss would be different. It's just that, like, nobody can truly understand how you are feeling. And it can be frustrating, but like I said, you just can't judge someone for grieving differently than you do or would expect yourself to. And then one of the most important factors, in my opinion, on your grieving process would be the people that you surround yourself with. I think that they are going to entirely change the way that you experience your grieving process, because they're either going to help you or they're going to hurt you. And I think that it's really important that you filter out the people that are beneficial to be in your life, and, you know, get rid of the ones that are bringing you down, because when you're grieving, you are so emotional already and so vulnerable that having other negativity in your life is just very, very overwhelming. You know, grief and loss and, you know, big situations like this are the ultimate test of relationships, and not all of them are going to make it through, and that's okay. It can be very frustrating and it can be difficult because you might not want to let go of those people, or they might hold a certain, you know, aspect of your life or the person that you lost's life that you don't want to let go of, but you will see that not everyone was meant to be in your life, or they were only meant to be in your life for a certain period of time and that was it. But it would just be unhealthy for them to stay in your life. Also, staying close to Ryan's family is something that has really, really helped me, which I've said before. So definitely stay close to family or friends, just whoever it is that helps you rather than hurts you, because, like, you don't need any more negativity in your life than grieving has already brought. And then another thing that makes a really big difference on your grieving process is the attitude that you have just about the entire situation. And obviously, like, I don't think anything about this is good. I would never, you know, want this. I would, you know, it's not a situation that I would ever pick for myself, but there's nothing that I can do about it now. What's done is done, and all I can do is improve my future going forward. And it's so easy to dwell on the past and hang on to things that you can no longer have, and it's awful because sometimes that's just what you need. But at least trying to have a positive outlook on the situation does help. Like I said, I would much rather have Ryan in my life than any of the good things that have happened to me recently. Like, I feel like that's such an obvious thing, but there are good things that have happened in my life since the accident. And I just try to enjoy them as much as I can and, you know, let myself feel happy. You know, one thing that I really struggle with a lot is, you know, letting myself be happy and not feeling guilty about it, because it's like, well, how can I be happy right now knowing that Ryan is never going to experience these things or, you know, be a part of these things the way that we wanted them to. And, you know, I just have to remind myself that Ryan wanted me to be happy. But if you just mope around all day and you say, I hate myself, I hate the world, I hate everything in it, then, you know, over time you will see that you genuinely feel that way and you're not just grieving anymore. It's like that's what your life has turned into. Then trust me, I have been there, said that, you know, been angry at every single person in my life and just at the world in general. But, like, that is so overwhelming to experience all the time, and it's all about balance. And, you know, like I said, letting yourself feel the way that you naturally feel, but you have to find a balance. But then, like, going back to what I said about attitude, if you do kind of have the mindset that, you know, this is a learning and growing experience, and understanding and appreciating that I have, you know, become a better person because of the accident, then, you know, that does change just my outlook on everything moving forward. And one thing that I really want to say to you guys is that, like, I'm not okay. I'm not positive all the time. I am still a grieving person. I have mental breakdowns and I bawl my eyes out at random times for, like, no apparent reason. And a lot of people have been commenting recently saying like they're happy to see that I'm okay and I'm, you know, doing better. And yes, I am doing better, but I still just want to remind you guys that you only see an edited portion of this. And the accident is something that's going to affect me for the rest of my life. You know, this isn't something that you can really move on from. You just learn to live with it. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about is that toward the beginning, a lot of people would say, you know, eventually you'll fall back into routine or you'll find a new normal. And I didn't believe those people because I was just like, what the heck? How could I fall back into a routine? Like my normal life, it will never be normal again because Ryan's not a part of it. And he was a huge, huge, huge part of my life. I mean, he was literally my whole world. Like I wish I could express it to you guys enough, like how attached to him I was and how much I relied on him, because honestly, no words fully explain that feeling that I have. But yeah, I just like didn't believe them, and now here I am, you know, with the ability to say that it does kind of happen over time. I'm still finding a routine. I'm still trying to find what my normal life is going to be like. But I do want to let you guys know that it is something that will happen eventually, and you do just learn to live with the grief. You know, like I said, it's not something that you ever really move on from or get over. That's impossible. But over time, the feelings do become lesser and lesser, and it's just something that does kind of live with you. You can't let it define you, but it is a part of who you are. It's a part of your story. But yeah, it is important to eventually fall back into a routine. That is something that helped me a lot. You know, it took a long time. Like most of you guys know, I didn't go back to school immediately after the accident. I just went back this semester, and even still, it was really hard for me to get myself to go for full days. You know, there were days that I would only go to like 2 out of 3 of my classes because I had just reached my limit, and you will know when you reach your limit. Emotionally, sometimes if you're trying to do something new or if you're with a big group of people, like you will get to a certain point and you will just know that you've done too much and you need to, you know, take a break or go back home or whatever. But it's really important to just kind of ease back into things, and over time you'll be more comfortable with it. It'll be easier, and you may even look forward to going to those things because they are a distraction. You know, it gives something else for you to preoccupy yourself with, or, you know, with schoolwork, it's something else to keep me busy. But yeah, you will eventually find a new normal or a routine that you can kind of fall into. And one thing that I really want to say is that, you know, obviously your emotions go through a huge roller coaster, and, you know, it's kind of like they come in waves. That's how I've described it throughout my whole grieving process, is that you'll have time periods of being good and you'll have time periods of being bad. You know, they both happen, and whenever you have your good waves where you feel motivated or happiness, like take advantage of them, be productive, try to get something done, clean, you know, do something else that makes you happy, because you don't know how long that's going to last, and you also know that it's not going to last forever. So if you can be productive while you are in that, you know, sort of good wave, then I think that it will motivate you more when you have your next good wave, and I think that over time it'll just help to produce more good waves. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I think if you just slowly start being more productive, then it's like a snowball effect, and, you know, you can keep being more and more productive, but it's not something that you can just jump into. So just take advantage of your happy times and, you know, do as much as you can with them. And I also just want to remind you guys that you may find yourself taking, you know, 5 to 10 steps forward and then 2 or 3 steps back, and I just want to remind you guys that, like, that's okay. That's part of the process. I can't even tell you how many times I felt that way, but what's important is that you did take those steps forward, and that just shows that you still have room to improve and, you know, space to grow. But I don't want you to feel discouraged if that happens, because sometimes I'll be able to go to school for all of my classes, I'll be able to do all of my schoolwork, and then the next day I'm just like, what the heck, I can't get out of bed. And that does kind of go along with, like, the waves that I was telling you guys about, but I just don't want you to feel discouraged and get stuck in a rut if you find that there's one bad day, because then I just think that if you have that that attitude, then it'll create more bad days. And if you guys can tell, a lot of these tips that I have with you are sort of like intertwined with each other and one affects the other. And then the last thing that I want to share with you guys is that it's really important to just find whatever it is that makes you happy. It might be a process of trial and error. You might find a few things that you really hate before you find something that you love, but whether it's a hobby or a career or, you know, certain people that you love to hang out with, I think that just finding things that can bring positivity into your life are so, so important. And for everyone, it will be something different, or it might be a handful of different things that do all just contribute to your overall happiness and positivity. So yeah, I hope that you guys all have a good week, a good Monday. And you're productive and happy and all of that fun stuff. So I hope you guys really did find this video helpful. If you have any other videos for my Motivation Monday series that I'm starting, then definitely let me know, or just any video ideas that you have in general that you guys want to see. Just let me know as always, and I love you guys so, so much. I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!